you know, we try and keep things pretty political, right? Because that's the kind of news that really matters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if, you know, Rihanna started talking shit about Taylor Swift at, you know, some award show. But this award show incident was pretty major, and you know, if you've read the subtitle, then you know. And even if you haven't, you probably still know anyway. Will Smith slaps Chris Rock in the face at the Oscars. And I believe we have a clip, so let's watch the internationally televised assault.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay.
That was absolutely mental. Well, when I saw that, I thought it must be staged, right? When I saw that Will Smith had slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, I was like, the Oscars, the Academy will do anything to stay relevant. I think, like me, most people didn't even know that the Oscars was happening. Most people didn't really think, you know, don't think about the Oscars at all, because it's become very well, people don't really care about it. I think people care more about some other award shows, but yeah, Jack's saying here, this legit gets worse and more sinister every time I watch it. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. The more you watch it, the more you realize it's very, very unlikely that this was like some kind of weird staged thing that the Oscars were doing to try to stay relevant, because I don't think Will Smith would agree to that, considering how horrible a light it paints him in. So that was an internationally televised assault, basically. Chris Rock is making a joke. Chris Rock wasn't even the main presenter of the Oscars there. He was just presenting like one award or something. And he's making a joke comparing Jada, who is Jada Smith, who's Will Smith's wife, of being... he's comparing her to G.I. Jane, which is like a movie that came out like the 90s or something. And G.I. Jane is like this character who has a shaved head. And Jada has alopecia, right? Which, if you don't know, is a condition that means that there's frequent hair loss, and sometimes a person can't grow like any hair really consistently anywhere on their body, and it can cause a lot of anxiety. It can cause a lot of body image issues, a lot of insecurity. It's not a pleasant thing, but regardless of if you think the joke is mean-spirited or even a little bit ableist, Jesus Christ, it does not warrant going over and slapping someone. And in the middle of the Oscars as well, how straight... I mean, all this whole time, people could have been assaulting Ricky Gervais, and he's managed to get away with it at the Golden Globes however many times. It's pretty baffling. I think a lot of the celebrities who wanted to sort of assault him at the Golden Globes probably kicking themselves now, and they could have gotten away with it. And obviously after this, Will Smith then goes and wins Best Actor. And, you know, let's not debate the merits of that. I mean, I think Andrew Garfield and Benedict Cumberbatch deserve that more. But anyway, the discourse around this that was on Twitter was particularly interesting, I thought. I think we might have some tweets. Do we have some tweets that we could show? I don't know if we do, but Yeah, so some pretty funny shit came out, right? Like Will Smith was provoked by NATO expansion. Um, there was a lot of interesting stuff, but some people were kind of saying that it was that Chris Rock was in the wrong, and what he was saying was kind of drenched in misogyny and racism and a horrible kind of not just a horrible comment about Jada Smith, but also about black women in general. And I think that's taking it a bit too far. This person on Twitter says, this question is rhetorical. Why is it that white feminists have labeled Will Smith's behavior toxic masculinity, but not Chris Rock's pattern of belittling Jada Pinkett-Smith and black women as a whole? I don't really think that this has anything to do with race or gender. I know I am but a white man, and I know that it's very easy for me to say that no, this isn't about race, this isn't about gender, because fundamentally I have privilege in both of those areas. I understand that. But it does feel very unlikely to me that comparing a bald person to a bald character in a movie has anything really to do with their gender or their race. I don't know. And it's quite, it's not I don't think a very brutal joke. I think, maybe it's a bit mean, but I certainly don't think it's particularly horrendous. There's been many worse things that have happened at the Oscars, though. Some people saying that this is like the worst thing on earth. People saying that Will Smith could have like killed Chris Rock with his immense power. I don't know about that. And this certainly isn't the worst moment the Oscars has had. You've had people speaking out against American imperialism and war who've been like booed off stage, and then you've had situations where like people have been harassed for speaking out on various political issues that were very, very important. So I don't really know if this would be the worst moment the Oscars has had, but Jack says here, it seems to be entirely a free speech v physical assault issue to me. Where should the line be drawn on free speech to you? Well, for me personally, as long as you're not inciting violence or spreading disinformation on a major scale, you should be able to say whatever you want. So if you're Facebook or you're a politician or you're a media organization and you're deliberately lying to people and misleading people, well, your freedom of speech should be shut down there. If you're inciting violence and saying that, people should be killed or have human rights stripped from them, or they should be hurt, they should be beaten, they should be assaulted, whatever, then absolutely you should not be allowed to say that. But anything else, I think you're kind of getting into slightly dangerous territory. If making a bit of a mean-spirited joke now results in physical assault, where is that line? Where people can make jokes. And I think, as much as the whole hullabaloo about comedians being like cancelled and all this, like, they can't say anything anymore and they're meant to challenge people, and then they just rant for 25 minutes about how fucking stupid transgender people are or whatever, and how a woman can't have a penis and all this bollocks, right? As much as that is way over exaggerated, it's also important to remember that free speech is really important, and comedians should be allowed to make jokes at the expense of the richest and most influential people in the world. And look, Chris Rock clearly at the end of that clip is he goes like, okay, and you can see he's quite an intelligent comic, Chris Rock, and I think he probably comes up with about 30 different insults that he could use on the Smith family right there and be absolutely brutal, and he chooses not to, right? Probably because out of fear that there'll be like an outright brawl. And while comedians shouldn't be just really mean and cruel and ableist and racist and etc., they should be allowed to make jokes that certainly aren't that brutal. I mean, come on, it's not that bad a joke, and even if it was, it does not justify assaulting someone. And Will Smith just got away with it, obviously. I mean, he's apologized to Chris Rock now, and said that it was all about, like, love makes you do crazy things. Okay. But you know, the less we talk about the relationship with Jada Pinkett-Smith and Will Smith, the better, I think, because it's a very odd one.